Aaron was not an exemplar. He was not a spiritual man. He was not a man who really pleases God, but he was a man who pleases people. And when he is a man pleaser, how can he set standards to his children? Leviticus chapter 10, 1 and 2. Verse 1 and 2. Aaron sends Nadab and Abihu, took their censers, put fire in them, and added incense. And they offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, contrary to his command. So fire came out from the presence of the Lord and consumed them, and they died before the Lord. Aaron, he was not only a failure to be a priest, he was also a failure to be a good father. When Aaron could not stand properly when he was alone, how can he really teach his children about God's standards? For good or bad, his children became priests. He should have taught to his children, my sons, listen carefully. We serve God who is holy. Because our God is holy, He is expecting us to be holy. We cannot serve God with the defiled ideas, with the defiled body, with the defiled lifestyle. We need to be very, very careful in God's presence because our God is a God of righteousness. He should have taught those lessons to children, but he failed himself to be a spiritual man. How can he teach spiritual lessons to his children? Finally, what happened? Because he himself was not a strong spiritual man, he could not really teach spiritual lessons to his children. Finally, children brought a fire that is not acceptable by God, and as a result of that, same day, he lost his both sons. Why? He could not really teach them and train them in God's ways. Parents, let's be careful. If you yourself is a failure in many areas of your life, how can you teach to your children to be successful in their lifestyles? We need to question ourselves the areas where we are failing God and bringing shame to God, and we need to repent in those areas and ask God to give you strength, victory in those areas so that you can teach to your children how to live a life worth pleasing unto God. When you stand alone, then you can make others stand. When you are victorious, then others can follow you, taking you as a model. When Aaron himself was not a victorious man, when he himself was not an example, when he himself is not a spiritual, pleasing God, how can he expect his children to do so? But then finally what happened? He lost his both the sons. What a disappointment. What a horrible situation. What else can that happen in the life of Aaron for his minimum standards of his spiritual life? He could not really train up his children properly and finally paid for it. Parents, let us teach and train our children in God's ways. If we don't do so, we will have to pay serious cost, a serious penalty. Happened in the life of Aaron.